If your life feels stuck, it's not because you're lazy. It's because your brain is doing exactly what it was designed to do. Keep you average. No one tells you this, but your brain doesn't care about success. It cares about survival. And success? Success is risky. Think about it. For most of human history, playing safe meant staying alive. Trying something new? Dangerous. Standing out? Dangerous. Taking risks could literally get you killed. So your brain evolved to avoid anything unfamiliar. And that system is still running your life today. That's why you plan your dream life at night, but delay it in the morning. You feel motivated for 2 days, then suddenly, nothing. You start strong, but never finish. And you think, maybe I'm just inconsistent. No, you're not inconsistent. You're programmed. Your brain has one job: keep things predictable. Because predictable equals safe. Even if your current life is frustrating, even if you're broke, even if you're unhappy. If it's familiar, your brain will protect it. Let that sink in. Your brain would rather keep you in a life you hate than risk a life it doesn't understand. That's why scrolling feels easier than building. Overthinking feels easier than doing. Watching others succeed feels easier than becoming successful yourself. Because none of those things trigger danger. They're safe. They're passive. They require nothing from you. But the moment you try to change, your brain reacts. You feel resistance. You feel doubt. You feel tired, even if you just woke up. And it whispers things like, start tomorrow. You're not ready. This is too much. What if you fail? That voice? It's not you. It's your brain, protecting you. Now here's where it gets dangerous. Most people listen to that voice. They wait. They delay. They quit. Not because they can't win, but because they never stayed long enough to find out. And this is exactly why most people stay broke. Not because they lack ideas. Not because they lack opportunities. But because they reject unfamiliar growth. Think about what success actually requires. More money? That means more responsibility. More decisions. More pressure. More expectations. And your brain? It sees all of that as stress. As risk. As something to avoid. So instead of pushing forward, you go back. Back to comfort. Back to distraction. Back to the version of life that feels safe. Even if that safe life is slowly draining you. This is why people say they want success, but their actions say otherwise. Because deep down, they don't want success. They want comfort. And comfort never made anyone rich. So the real question is, how do you break this? How do you override a system that's been running your entire life? It's not motivation. Motivation is temporary. It comes and goes. If you rely on motivation, you will lose every time. It's not discipline either, because discipline still depends on willpower. And willpower gets tired. The real answer is something much simpler and much harder. Repetition. Without emotion. You don't wait to feel ready. You don't wait to feel motivated. You don't even think. You just act. Small actions. Daily actions. Repeated actions. Even when it feels pointless. Even when it feels boring. Even when it feels uncomfortable. Because here's what happens. At first, your brain resists. It fights back. It tries to stop you. But if you keep going, something changes. The same action that once felt hard starts to feel normal. The same work that once felt painful starts to feel automatic. The same fear that once stopped you starts to disappear. Why? Because your brain no longer sees it as danger. It sees it as familiar. And the moment something becomes familiar, it becomes easy. This is how successful people win. Not because they're smarter, not because they're special, but because they stayed consistent long enough for their brain to adapt. They didn't chase motivation. They built routines. They didn't wait to feel ready. They acted while feeling uncomfortable. They didn't avoid fear. They repeated actions until fear disappeared. And that's the shift you need to make. Stop asking, how do I stay motivated? Start asking, how do I make this automatic? Because your life doesn't change when you feel inspired. It changes when your habits change. And your habits change through repetition. So if you feel stuck right now, if you feel behind, if you feel like nothing is working, listen carefully. It's not your fault. You were programmed this way. But staying stuck? That becomes a choice. Because now, you know the truth. Your brain will try to keep you average. It will try to keep you safe. It will try to keep you exactly where you are. But you don't have to listen. You just have to act. Again, and again, and again. Until the life you once feared becomes your new normal. And that is when everything changes. Let's go deeper, because understanding this once is not enough. You need to see it happening in your life. Think about the last time you decided to change. Maybe you said, I'll wake up early. I'll start working out. I'll finally take my goals seriously. And for a moment, you meant it. Day 1, you felt powerful. Day 2, still strong. Day 3, something felt off. Suddenly, you were more tired, more distracted, less focused. And then, you stopped. Not because you didn't care, but because your brain hit the emergency brake. This is called internal resistance. And it shows up in ways you don't even notice. You don't feel like working? Resistance. You suddenly want to clean your room instead? Resistance. You open your phone without thinking? Resistance. It's not random. It's a pattern. Your brain is trying to pull you back to your old identity. Because every action you take is a vote for who you are. And if you've spent years being inconsistent, distracted, comfort-driven, then the moment you try to become focused, disciplined, driven, your brain panics. Because now, you're becoming someone unfamiliar. And unfamiliar feels dangerous. So it creates friction. Not physical friction, mental friction. The kind that makes simple tasks feel heavy. The kind that makes progress feel slow. The kind that makes you question everything. And most people, they misinterpret this feeling. They think, this isn't working. Maybe this isn't for me. I'll try something else. But the truth is, that feeling means it is working. You are literally rewiring your brain. And rewiring feels uncomfortable. Imagine going to the gym for the first time. Your body hurts. Your muscles burn. You feel weak. That doesn't mean you're getting worse. It means you're adapting. The same thing is happening in your mind. But here's the problem. No one teaches this. So people quit right before the breakthrough. They stop right when things are about to change. And then they say, nothing works. No, things do work. You just didn't stay long enough. Now let's talk about something deeper. Your identity. Because your habits don't control your life. Your identity does. If you see yourself as someone who procrastinates, overthinks, never finishes, then no matter what strategy you use, you will return to that version of yourself. Because your brain always tries to stay consistent with your identity. So if you say, I'm trying to be disciplined, your brain hears, this is temporary. But if you say, I am a disciplined person, now it becomes real. Now your brain starts looking for proof. And this is where everything changes. Because instead of asking, how do I stay consistent? You start asking, what would a consistent person do right now? And then, you do that. Even if it feels fake. Even if it feels forced. Because identity is built through action, not thoughts. Every time you act differently, you weaken the old version of yourself and strengthen the new one. This is how transformation actually happens. Not in one big moment, but in small, repeated decisions. Now here's something most people won't admit. Growth is boring. It's not exciting. It's not dramatic. It's not motivational. It's repetitive. Doing the same thing, over and over again, without immediate results. And that's why most people quit. Because they expect fast success, quick results, instant change. But real change is invisible at first. You don't see it until one day, everything is different. And by then, it feels normal. That's the goal. Not motivation, not hype. Normal. Because once success becomes normal, you stop fighting yourself. You stop negotiating. You stop delaying. You stop overthinking. You just act. And that's when life gets easier. Not because things are simple, but because you've changed. Now let's be honest. Right now, there are things you know you should be doing. Things you've been avoiding, not because they're hard, but because they're uncomfortable. And that discomfort is the doorway. Everything you want is on the other side of that feeling. But most people turn around. They choose comfort again and again and again until years pass and nothing changes. Don't let that be you. Because time doesn't slow down. And the cost of staying the same is your future. So here's what you do. You stop waiting. You stop overthinking. You stop asking, what if? And you start asking, why not? Why not start today? Why not take one step? Why not do the uncomfortable thing? Not perfectly, not completely, just once. Because one action breaks the pattern. And once the pattern breaks, momentum begins. And momentum is more powerful than motivation. So don't aim to change your life overnight. That's another trap. Aim to change your next decision. Because your life is just a collection of decisions. And if you change enough of them, your entire future changes. Slowly, quietly, inevitably. So the next time your brain says, not today, smile. Because now, you understand. It's not weakness. It's resistance. And resistance means you're on the right path. So you don't stop. You continue. Even if it's slow. Even if it's messy. Even if no one notices. Because one day, you will. And that day will be worth everything.